AEW.
AEW.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. AEW. I mean, the footage. I mean, everybody want to talk about the footage, man. With CM Punk and Jack Perry. I mean, everybody's been talking about it. We don't the one who haven't really expounded upon the situation between Punk and Perry. So I think that's something that we definitely got to delve into because they said they were going to do it.
They did.
I was very, very skeptical. I was like, "There's no way they're going to show that footage," and boom, lo and behold, Tony Khan said we're going to do it. I heard it was, against a lot of talent saying, "Hey, man, maybe we shouldn't do this," but Tony Khan said, "No, I'm making a decision. We're gonna roll it." I don't know, man. It definitely was not a good look for AEW, but they did get a bump out of the situation. They did get a bump.
Little bump.
Yeah, a little bump. I know that show starting out, they had close to 1 million. They didn't crack it. Then by the end of the show, it was way down, of course. But I don't know. What do you think the footage did for AEW? The company AEW going forward.
I mean, it didn't do anything for their ratings going forward, in my opinion. I don't think it sold one extra pay-per-view for their pay-per-view this weekend. I believe it is this
You
weekend.
know what? I didn't even know about the pay per view.
See, there you go. There
What's
you
the
go.
name? What's the name of the pay per view?
It's Dynasty, AEW
Oh,
Dynasty.
okay. I've seen the Dynasty, but I didn't know what that was. I thought they was talking about the show Dynasty that used to come on back in the day. With
You would
Judd
think about that.
Forsythe.
You would think about that. Booker loves some Dallas, some Dynasty. You know what I mean? Any of those kind of shows. You know what I mean?
Oh my!
The Bold and the Beautiful is going to be the next AEW pay-per-view.
Oh,
No,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Forbidden Door. We got all these freaking things.
but
But Dynasty.
as far as the footage, I don't think it sold one extra pay-per-view. And if anything, in my mind, like, look, do I think people are like, oh, was it what happened isn't justifiable or excusable? Sure. I mean, you could definitely have that argument, and I don't disagree with it. However, it went down just like Punk said. So if the idea was to embarrass CM Punk in some way, it did. I saw a split screen of him telling the story, and then they show the footage at the same time. And like everything he says, for the most part, happens beat for beat. Just like he said. Now we can't hear the audio, right? We can't hear the audio, but he definitely walks up to Jack like he says. He and Jack get into a little verbal back and forth. You can see that in the footage. And then he says, like Chael said, you can't let him get too close. And so he grabs Jack, has him choked out, or is holding him, a guillotine, whatever you want to describe it. Samoa Joe comes over, breaks it up, and then CM Punk lunges towards Tony Khan and, says some choice words for him before he's walked out by Malachi Black. I mean, I don't know. And I don't know if you saw this, but in the recap of AEW Dynamite from last week, Forbes.com, they do a weekly recap of the show. I don't know if you saw this. And in the match order, they put CM Punk defeated Jack Perry as one of the results from the show.
Oh, man. You know what? One thing I was reading one article, and the article said that this video proved that CM Punk was the aggressor in this situation. All right. Maybe that was what they were trying to get out there. Maybe they want the world to know that Jack Perry wasn't the one that really started this thing, and maybe we can bring Jack Perry back now because we did show the video to take some of the steam off Jack Perry trying to make a return back to AEW. Maybe that was it.
Well, yeah, okay. Hey, kid, we got good news for you. We're gonna bring you back to TV. Oh yeah, how you gonna do that? Well, like one of the big names on WWE, we're gonna show him choking you out, and you doing nothing about it. And then we're gonna bring you back to TV. You'll be a big baby face.
Look, man, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It puts Jack Perry in a position where he wasn't the bad guy. As far as, look, man, I didn't start this. Okay, there's a lot of people putting a lot of heat on Jack Perry right now. A lot of people saying Jack Perry, he's called himself the scapegoat, of course, but a lot of people really think, maybe Jack Perry got raw end of the stick on this thing. I don't know. I don't think that video helped, Jack Perry coming back. I don't think that did anything for Jack Perry, ego. or anything like that. Them showing that footage right there, because like you say, it was exactly like Punk said. Punk said he, pushed him, face locked him, whatnot. But the thing is, nothing really happened.
Nothing happened.
I mean, that was all of about 10 seconds.
Oh yeah, the skirmish. Yeah, maybe 10 seconds.
I mean,
Can I ask you? Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
And because look, there's a debate on if it was a fireable offense or not. Um, I can definitely see why you say, look, two people getting into it. You started it. You can't do that at the workplace. You're gone. Now, it is wrestling, and I don't know if that makes it different.
We got to take a break. We'll come back and talk about this. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Can you dig it, sucker? And this episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, let's talk about it. Let's talk about sex. Hey, you remember when you was always ready to go? I'm talking about strapping the rocket on it, man. Going straight to the moon. I'm talking about getting it done. If you want that extra confidence, I got something for you. Listen up. BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, but in a chewable tablet at the fraction of the cost.
But the great thing, Book, is you can take it any time, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days.
The best part, guys, it's all done online on the internet. So there's no doctor's visit, no awkward conversations, no waiting in line at a pharmacy or any of that.
And the thing is, Book, Blue Chew's tablets, they're made right here in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package, so no one is the wiser.
Let's just get it out there, guys. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. It's like this. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew absolutely free when you use promo code Booker at your checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping, man. That's BlueChew.com. Use promo code Booker to receive your first month absolutely free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And, we want to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Hall of Fame podcast. Chew it and do it. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. We're talking about the CM Punk Jack Perry kerfuffle. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't a fight. The question was it a fireable offense as far as CM Punk and Jack Perry, perhaps what CM Punk did to Jack Perry? Me personally, I don't think that was a fireable offense. I don't know what has been going on, behind the scenes with CM Punk and Tony Khan or anything like that for Tony Khan to make a decision like that off of what we saw, because that did not seem like it was anything other than the boys getting into it. I've gotten into it with guys on the roster before many, many times. And normally, after it happens, they will bring us in and say, guys, either we're going to get along or somebody's going to have to get along. You know what I mean? One of the two. And we shake hands and we, get back to work. Every time I've gotten into it with someone, I've known that I was perhaps, it's potentially that we was going to have to work against each other at some point in time, or even have to tag with each other. And for me, it's always been, all right, I mean, I may not like the guy, but we can still do business together.
Yeah, I mean, I thought of honestly, I thought of you when I saw the footage a couple more times, because you've said this same thing before, not just about yourself, but you've said you've seen guys get into it, and we've heard the stories, whether it be Jericho and Goldberg one time getting into it, or even Jericho even said he ran up on Brock one time. I mean, this stuff that Jericho said publicly, so I think it's okay to share. And there's nothing probably more than a conversation after that, because at the end of the day, I'm not saying it's excusable, but hell, man, like we see sometimes in the UFC, they actually fight backstage. Like, you remember when, who was it? Jorge Masvidal and Leon Edwards ran up on each other backstage. Or I think it was those guys.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
It's a ego-driven, testosterone-fueled sport that at times, tensions and emotions boil over into a physical reaction, and it's not anything that describes a person to say, "Oh man, you know what? This guy's a loose cannon, and we can't have him
Well,
around."
just think about it. Maybe remember the press scrum,
Yeah,
and all of this happened after that. Maybe Tony was,
sure.
but maybe still leery from the press conference, but because a lot of people said that Tony should have done something perhaps that day at the press conference, even perhaps shutting it down and saying, "Look, this press conference is over."
He should have.
Um, you know, um, I think maybe that may have had a part in Tony saying, "Man, I got to do something. I got to do something. I got to do it now in order to save face." Maybe he felt like he had to do something to feel like he was in control, to feel like he was the boss of that company,
But
maybe that was it.
no, because he didn't make the decision. The AEW disciplinary board or whatever made the decision, right? He said, "I'm taking their recommendation."
Yeah,
So, I
but
mean,
he had to sign off on it. He had to sign
yeah,
off.
yeah. So he took the recommendation of somebody else.
Yeah.
He didn't make the decision. But my
Recommend
point is
recommendation of who though? Who's the
the disciplinary board, which we found out is, I think, 2 attorneys and Brian Danielson, from what was put out there.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
who it was. Now, look, again, in the press conference, I felt bad for Tony because, look, this is the first time something like this is happening when he's running a professional wrestling show, and he didn't know how to react. It's easy for us to say, well, he should have done something in the moment. I mean, I would like to think that I would do something in the moment, but I don't know that until I'm in that situation. So I'm gonna shoot him a little bit of bail on that side. However, moving forward, he fumbled the football in so many ways by not making these, like you said, when a scuffle happened, y'all were brought into a room and said you either get along or you get along, right? Like you don't have any options unless you
Yeah.
want to get up out of here. Tony should have, and the AEW leadership team should have set all these guys in a room and said, "Look, let's hash this out." Because to me, Punk patching things up with WWE tells me, look, he'll do what's right to make some money, to
Oh
draw a
yeah.
house.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? He's one of the boys. And
Business.
to me, there was so much money in a CM Punk versus Young Bucks feud or CM Punk versus Kenny Omega feud coming off of All Out. And when AEW always loves to lean into these backstage incidents on their television or internet rumors on their TV, that was one that could have really drawn a serious house for that company. Can you imagine, Kenny Omega versus CM Punk for the title at Double or Nothing? Like we're talking money now. So that's where I think he failed more than anything in this situation. And then the Punk Jack Perry thing, I still think there was zero benefit in airing it on television. You didn't sell one more pay-per-view. Not one. You got people to talk about the show, but not in a good way. In a way saying, God, man, they could be so great, but they do these dumb things. Like in the very next segment, a guy who I really like as a performer, Will Ospreay, wants to cut this silly, stupid promo about the WWE and Triple H. I'm like, hey, does no one at AEW realize y'all have your own stuff? You have your own stuff, right? You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
your own universe. Operate within those boundaries. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you don't hear the term WWE or NXT on reality of wrestling, and there's a WWE or NXT star in the ring.
Yeah, yeah.
Know what they do it with Roman Reigns. I mean, we don't make reference to the other show because that's not our world. This is our television show.
Well, I
Focus.
think it was a big. I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that. I think it was a big mistake after the press scrum. They pretty much, take those guys totally away from each other and give CM Punk his own show. Like that was going to fix the problem. Like these guys aren't still working in the same company. Like the animosity aren't still there. Like the beef is not still, simmering. You know what I mean? I don't think that. I think that may have, made the problem even worse because CM Punk was taken off the biggest show that they have, which was Dynamite, and put on the Saturday night show, which was nobody really was watching. And then you was expecting CM Punk to actually, draw all the numbers for that show. If the number was bad, who was going to get the blame for it?
Punk.
every time.
Yeah.
Every time he's not pulling his load. So I think that was a bad situation, putting Punk in that situation to where everything fell on him as far as that show on Saturday. Collision, right?
Collision.
If everything on that show went through CM Punk, me personally, I wouldn't want to be in that position. I would not
But
want to be in that position where the rating, everything was all on me. I just would not want to be in that position.
it's a lose, 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 lose. I mean, there was no situation and Punk would win in that perspective, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So, and then again, it was a bad idea. Airing the footage
Thing
was
is,
a bad idea.
question on that right there. I don't know. Maybe you know, maybe you've heard something about it. On that Collision show, when it was deemed CM Punk's show, was CM Punk writing that show, or was Tony Khan still writing that show?
I think Tony was still putting a lot of it together, but CM Punk had some sort of leadership role in as far as the Collision show went. He had a say so. He kind of was I think you could call him maybe an executive producer of the show.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly who was writing it, but I know his influence was on it. See, his being CM Punk's.